Let's talk about how to start a self-storage facility business. When people find out that I own 1,300 doors in 12 locations, self-storage units, they always want to know, wow, how did you do that? Kind of made me scratch my head and think, how did I do it? Because I didn't start with any money. I'm going to show you how I did it in this next episode. I'm going to tell you a little story about how I bought my first storage unit. Then I'm going to tell you about something that happened that caused me to lock on to the storage business. And I'm also going to explain how I moved from tiny operator to retirement level. All that and things I wish I'd have done different. Stay tuned. Now, I got a little cheat sheet here with me because I want to get the numbers right. There's a lot of numbers, and I want you to understand them. So bear with me a second as I go through my first deal. Now, the first deal that I ever bought was a little 15-unit place. I was sitting at my house minding my own business when the phone rang, and it was the local realtor friend of mine. Said that he wanted me to come look at this little income property that was a little bit different. So I got in my car, I drove down there. He takes me to this entrance of this state park where there's a lake. And right outside the entrance on the other side of the street is this little boat storage facility. It had corrugated aluminum, it had chicken wire dividers, and it had dirt floors and these little doors that rolled open and rolled shut. So I said, well, this is simple enough. How does it cash flow? He said, well, it's about 50% vacant, and they're only charging about $35 a month on average. He says it kind of varies. They haven't managed it very well. But it's right across the street from the state park. There's only one entrance to this park, and this park is at the lake, and they have a boat launch in there, and a lot of people come to this park to go fishing. It should be full. I said, okay, let me do some research, and I went out to find out what boat stalls really rent for and if there was really a need for them. The answer was yes, there was a need for them, and the other answer was they should be renting for a lot more than $35. They should really be renting for like $55 a unit. So once I figured out that the place really should be full at $55, I called up the realtor and I said, well, what do they want for this thing? He says, well, they want $8,500. Now, I didn't have $8,500. Hell, I didn't have $50. I was broke. This was way early in my career and early in my life. But I could see the potential of it. So it ends up, I learned a little trick from my friend Robert Allen, and I went and got some credit cards, and I got $8,500 off my credit cards, and I bought boat storage place for $8,500 on 0% credit cards for 18 months. Then I promptly put up my signs to all the boat launches and put out my flyers on the boats, and I got it filled up at $55 per month. So if you take $55 and you multiply it by 15, you come up with $6,300 a year. So in a very short period of time, I was able to pay off that credit card with all the rents that I was collecting. And that's how I did my first deal. So the realtor, tells me it's $8,500, but I don't have $8,500. Shoot, I don't even have $50. It's early in my career. It's early in my life. I'm just kind of living paycheck to paycheck. But I learned a little thing from Robert Allen, and I saw the potential of this place because it wasn't hard to do the math. It was at $25 a month, it was making about $6,500 a year. And then it was only half full, so it was making somewhere around $3,300 a year, if I remember correctly. But it could do a lot better. It should have 15 units rented at $55, which is more like $9,900 a year. So I thought, if I can just get my hands on $8,500 and get the place full, I should have all my money back in about a year or less than a year. So I got the nerve. I went and got the credit cards, I got the cash advances, and I got $8,500 worth of 0% interest loans for 18 months. They were introductory offers. Didn't cost me anything to get the money to speak of, and I didn't have any interest to pay. So every time I collected the rents from the boat storage, I just forwarded it to the credit card company, and I was done in about a year. It took me a little while to fill them up, maybe a month or two, but no big deal. The amazing thing about the business was it was free and clear in a very short period of time, and I did it with none of my money. Zero. So in the process of turning this little tiny 15-unit storage facility around, I noticed some dramatic differences between the storage business and my house flipping business. One is This one didn't take a whole lot of money to get into. As a matter of fact, it was kind of laughable. Number two, the house flipping business is one in and one out, and you're done. Then you got to go find another house and do it again. It's kind of like a job, you know, especially if you're wholesaling like I was at the time. When you're wholesaling, you go find a house. When you sell it, you make a little bit of money. You don't have anything else to sell till you go find another house. It's just an endless cycle. You really have like a glorified job. This storage business was forever cash. Forever it would come in. It would come in until either I died or I chose to sell the place. And so that was really appealing to me because it dawns on me, if I can get enough of these units, I don't have to work anymore. I can acquire enough units to just push myself right out of anything to do today. The other thing I noticed was that I could grow this business one tiny 10 by 20 or 10 by 10 or 10, 15 at a time. One little tiny unit. I could afford to put up 10 units, you know, but I couldn't afford to go out my 10 rent houses. I could grow at tiny increments. And I would also have the depreciation and appreciation of this property forever until I decided to sell it. And all these pluses in these columns started to make me really pay attention to the self-storage business. Last but not least, I noticed that the evictions was a lot easier on storages. You know, you take one scenario where you're trying to take a person and their family out of this place where they live, eat, sleep, you know, or this other scenario where you're just trying to get someone to take their junk out of a storage shed. There's a lot less resistance in the junk. I mean, people fight for this house and give you a tremendous amount of resistance when you're trying to evict or foreclose in a house. But in the storages, it was like, you know, we'll move on. It was no big deal. Also, I had a lot less at risk. And these houses, if people got sideways or didn't care or were just irresponsible, they could tear my houses down. I had sheetrock and hot water heaters and refrigerators and stoves and appliances and ceiling fans and glass windows and tubs and toilets and all kinds of stuff they could break. The storage, it had one door. That was it. It was metal, one door, and a concrete slab. Or a dirt, depending on what kind of storage it was. So these are the reasons I started to gravitate towards the storage. The main thing being forever. That was the main thing. It was forever going to bring in money. And I figured over the course of forever, $55 would become $60, and $60 would become $65. And then in forever, heaven only knows what the rents would be 15 years from now. Sometimes people ask me, what's the secret of your success, Mitch? There's a lot of reasons and a lot of things that happen, and nobody gets here by themselves. There's always people and help and a helping hand when I've needed it, thank goodness. But one of the things I always did, and I especially did in the storage business, was I didn't take any money out of that business for the first 12 years. Now, I don't always hold my businesses and roll the money in for 12 years, but in this one particular business, the storage business, I left all the money that it made inside that business for 12 years. The only thing I took out was a 1-week vacation, all-inclusive to Mexico once a year. And that was the benefit of owning this storage. That was the only benefit for owning these storages in my life personally for 12 years was that vacation. So I was rolling the money back in, adding units, finding new storage facilities that I could buy, doing whatever I could, studying, and I was using the money that was being generated, I was rolling it all back in for 12 years. That's how I got to 1,300 doors. It's been 27 years since I bought that first little 15-unit storage facility. Today I have 1,300 doors, and that means 1,300 people owe me an average of $100 per month. Now, if you want to do the math, I'll make it easy for you. That's about $130,000 a month that comes in. Yes, that little 15 units has come a long way, but I do have one regret. Every now and then, I sit down with a pencil and paper and a calculator, and I start to calculate what it would have been worth if I would have bought that little 15 units and started that storage business in a self-directed Roth IRA. I would have paid no taxes on any income all the way up to now. And I start to do the math, and my calculator just won't hold the numbers. If I had it to do over again, I would put that first storage unit in a self-directed Roth IRA and it would have been the greatest decision of my life. And perhaps that's the value of watching these episodes. I just told you, maybe you won't make the same mistake. I can't go back 27 years ago, but maybe you're launching your storage facilities tomorrow or the next month or 6 months from now. Don't make the mistake I made. Take advantage of the stuff you learn here. Now, I want to thank all of you for stopping by and listening. I hope you're getting a lot out of this. Please hit the like button. Please share this with your friends and neighbors and family. And if you haven't subscribed, for heaven's sakes, subscribe. There's a lot of good information here. I'm going to be spilling my heart and all my knowledge that I have over the next 12 months at least, and I'm sure you're going to benefit from it. Also, I'm going to invite you to go pick up a free webinar called Private Money. Just go to 1000houses.com. You'll get on the home page there. Scroll up and down the home page. There's a whole bunch of free stuff. And one of those things that I'm posting up there for you to get is a webinar on private money. Because if I'd have raised private money earlier, if I would have overcome those limiting beliefs that I had early on that stayed with me for years, even decades, if I would have eliminated those limiting beliefs earlier, I could have got to the private money faster, and my whole life would have been leap years ahead of where it's now financially. I'm not bad and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I could have gotten further faster if I'd have just got to private money. So check out that private money webinar, 1000houses.com.